today is day 2 of our video series about getting good information for moving to France. So in yesterday's video, we talked about how to ask good questions and provide detailed information so you get answers that fit your situation. And this is particularly appropriate if you're asking questions on a forum like a Facebook group where anybody can answer and you don't really know and you're just sort of diving into the process without having a lot of knowledge. You want to get really accurate answers. So go back and watch that video if you missed it. But today I'm going to talk about how to set expectations in yourself about the types of answers that you're going to be getting. Now, I know that a lot of times we tend to make our best guess or make assumptions about how things are going to work in France based on or how things are going to work anywhere based on what we know about the topic elsewhere. So, you may have certain assumptions about how immigration is going to work in France because, you had a cousin who went to go work in Ireland, or, people who have immigrated to the United States or to your home country. And so the very first thing that I want you to do is to just pull all of that out of your mind and stop thinking about how things work in your home country or how things work in any other country, because France has its own specific rules. And while those kind of fall under the umbrella of Schengen, which sets the guidelines, and the European Union, the immigration rules in France are very particular to France. The French have their own bureaucracy and way of doing things, and nobody is going to be swayed by any arguments that things should be done differently or can be done better elsewhere. So if you're able to let go of that expectation, that is going to save you a ton of frustration. So the next thing I want to point out to you is, don't make the assumption or don't expect that anything's going to be easy. Or straightforward or clear, or that you're easily going to be able to get information about anything, even from the person that is supposed to help you do the thing. So don't expect, for example, to be able to get clear information from the consulate about what you need to apply for a French visa, because that's just not something that they do. They have made it even more difficult recently to get good information from them. So don't expect that it's going to be easy. Don't expect that it's going to make sense to you or appear logical. Don't expect that your situation is unique in any way. I know that a lot of times we see ourselves in multiple situations. Like we think, oh, well, we could get these multiple types of visas and we're not really sure. We feel unique, and like what has been laid out doesn't apply to us. In France, as much as possible, you want to try to fit yourself into a box. You want to tell them what situation applies to you, because one, if they're trying to put you in a box, they might pick the wrong box, and that's going to cause problems for you. And two, if you don't appear into any box, then you'll get, I don't know, and that is not going to be helpful. If you don't fit into any boxes, that is when you should start to worry. Especially if it's in the case of visa applications. Don't expect low-level bureaucrats to be able to accurately advise you on a complex topic. Don't go into, if you live in the south of France somewhere, don't go into your podunk small-town tax office in the countryside and expect them to be able to interpret the tax treaty between France and the United States. Don't expect them to be able to accurately advise you on whether or not you're able to start a business and set up as auto entrepreneur if you're on X or Y type of visa. Don't expect that. Bureaucrats here are highly specialized. They know about their jobs. They do not see the big picture. And even if you go to the prefecture in Paris, there are different offices that deal with different types of visa applications. There's one office that deals with visitors and spouses of French and EU people, and salaried worker visas. There's another office that deals with students. There's another office that deals with people who are starting businesses. do not go into one of those offices and expect them to be able to give you any information about a visa type that is processed by a different office, because they won't be able to do it. Don't expect people, and this brings me to my next point, don't expect people to advise you outside of their area of expertise. And even to the extent of, you know, the people at the prefecture, their job is to give you documents, for you to give them documents, for them to review the documents and decide whether or not they can give you a visa based on those documents. What they know about matching the visa to the documents is not the be-all and end-all of the requirements of your visa. So for example, they can't give you tax advice on whether or not running a business in your home country is taxable in France. Spoiler alert, it is. So, you know, I often see people run into a topic of like, they want to continue working remotely and they apply for a visitor visa, and they apply for the visitor visa and they get that based on the documents they provide. But guess what? The tax office and URSAF are going to disagree with this concept of working remotely, because if you're in France and you're working, then you're working in France. Now, the next thing to know is that if you do get bad advice from somebody, even if it's somebody at the prefecture or the consulate, then it's not going to get you out of trouble and it's not going to get you out of a big tax bill. So if you get a visitor visa and are working remotely, and 3 years from now, URSAF knocks on your door and says, okay, pay us 25,000 euros in social charges plus a big fine for not declaring this income to us, you're screwed, man. And I haven't seen it happen with URSAF, but I have seen it happen with a tax bill that somebody got on business income from the US that they were under the impression was not going to be taxable. And so I want you to be really careful about that and make sure that you get advice from the appropriate professionals and not rely on the knowledge of low-level bureaucrats. Or your friends who may or may not be doing things the right way. If you get into one of these situations, don't expect people to make exceptions for you or to feel sorry for you. The French are very good at applying and sticking to the rules, and they're not going to take pity on you. There's an expression in French, nul n'est censé ignorer la loi. Nobody is supposed to be ignorant of what the law is. And that applies to you if you're living in France, regardless of whether you've grown up in the French system. Don't expect to be able to bully your way into getting what you want. You know, you're new here. There's a French way of being able to insist and get things done by taking a very particular tone and putting pressure on people, especially in the prefecture, in a very particular way. You have not mastered that way. I'm getting pretty good at that way. I've been here for 10 years. So what's going to happen is you're just going to make a lot of enemies. So be aware of, you know, what your abilities are, because you don't want to use those things to your detriment and then end up making your life harder. And finally, even if your level of French is not good, don't expect people to, you know, take it easy on you if you don't speak French or you don't understand. Even if you don't speak French, you're still responsible for knowing what the laws are that you're supposed to follow. You're still responsible for getting things done that you're supposed to get done, like filing your taxes and exchanging your driver's license and, you know, whatever you can think of. So, so make sure that, you know, you put yourself in a situation where you're going to be able to fulfill those obligations, and you know what's expected of you. Now, a lot of times that's going to mean, you know, joining a Facebook group, becoming one of my clients, something like, you know, having somebody who's been here a long time and who knows what you're going to need to do is able to advise you on it in advance and maybe help you out if you need that, but also just enabling you to ask the right questions and get the right information. So that's it for day 2, setting expectations. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how to vet the advice that you get and make sure that when you have 11 billion people answering your questions on Facebook or in a public forum, that you're able to discern who is providing a good answer and who doesn't really know what they're talking about. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 3.
Hey, this is Allison Grant Lunes. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you learned something about living in France and were inspired about pursuing your own transformation. Do you want to learn how you can get the right visa and create your dream life in France? Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and to the Profiles in Transformation podcast for more inspiring stories about people who made their transformation a reality, and for more tips and tricks on how to make your transformation happen for you. If you want to learn more about what visa is right for you and how to pursue your transformation, you can check out my book, Foolproof French Visas, which goes over basically every single way that you can possibly move to France. It's available as an ebook or in paperback on Amazon, and it will help you identify the right visa for you and prepare a successful application. Or if you'd like my personal help with applying for your visa and moving to France, you can go to www.yourtransformation.com/free-call to request a free 30-minute transformation clarity call with me about how I can help you to make your dream a reality and get started on helping you to move to France. Thanks again for watching, and à bientôt.